Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina. Welcome to the Sunday night live stream show. That's right, y'all. It's Sunday night and it's time to talk fishing, answer your questions, give away free fishing trips, talk about the weather, what's going on now, what's coming up, and more. So welcome to the Sunday night show. As I mentioned, we are going to be giving away $1,500 in free trips tonight. We do every Sunday night right here at 7:30 p.m. during our live stream show, Off the Hook with Captain Hubbard. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out and joining us tonight and being a part of our Hubbard's Marina family. We're going to talk all about the weather, what's going on now, what's biting, answering your questions live, and more. Remember, if you have a question you want answered live during the show, you do have to text it into the phone number at the bottom of the screen. Got to text us your questions because the comments, they go really fast. We're streaming to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Trovo, Twitch, all these different places. So we don't always see all of the comments. So make sure you text us your questions. That phone number is at the bottom of the screen there, 727-393-1947. Also, you want a chance to win some free fishing trips tonight? You do have to comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. That enters you for a chance to win. Once you've commented once on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream, you can watch on YouTube, you can watch on a different Facebook page, you can watch on Instagram, TikTok, Trovo, Twitch, wherever you want, but you do have to comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. That enters you for a chance to win. Then you have to watch the whole show live because at random intervals, we're going to do those giveaways. You'll see your name appear on the screen. I will announce your name, and then you've got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address. That's how you enter. That's how you claim your free trip. So comment once. Don't forget to give the video a like, a thumbs up on YouTube, comment on YouTube, Trovo, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff too. But you do have to comment once on Facebook on the Hubbard's Marina stream in order to be entered for a chance to win. Then you have to watch live and then text us within 5 minutes in order to claim your free fishing trips. So hopefully you guys are ready for a good time. Want to make sure we, of course, give a shout out to our friends over there at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. This show is brought to you by our friends over there at Gator Jim's Tackle. Stop by, say hello. They have a huge selection, killer deals, great staff. They got it all going on over there at Gator Jim. So make sure you stop by, say hello, and tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. Also, want to make sure we give a shout out to all of our supporters out there in our Facebook supporters group, helping to fuel the show and make all this possible. Remember, it's only $4.99 a month, less than $5 for an entrance to the supporters group. It gets you access to our private supporters page, behind the scenes info, more connectivity, plus you get access to our supporters after show as well, where we dive a little deeper, talk a little bit more one-on-one, and it's a good time. So make sure you join us for that supporters after show in our supporters group. Again, only $4.99 a month. Josh is dropping the link in the chat on Facebook now. Also, want to make sure we give a shout out to all those who are sending stars. Josh, could we turn down the AC in here if you got the controller? That'd be great. I'm sweating already. Now, want to give a shout out to those sending stars. We had Brian Eakins, Robert Riggs, Larry White, Todd Stutzman, Keith White. We had Larry White again with a big 1,000 stars. Thanks, buddy. Jason Richmond, Robert Bush, LaShonda Brown with a big 500. Sam Lang with 830. Thanks, buddy. Jason Richmond, Richard Bedwell with 1,000 stars. Appreciate you, buddy. Alexis Standifer and Gary Camage and Chris Molina as well. Then D Beers topping things out with a big 1,200 stars. Thank you so much, D and Mike. Hope you guys are having a happy Sunday night. Now, we've talked a little bit about how to win trips. We've thanked Gator Gyms, our supporters, and those sending stars. Now we like to get into what we're catching now and show you photos of what's biting this week. And then we're going to get into the weather a little bit. Then we're going to make some announcements. Then we are going to get into your questions. Remember, if you have a question you want answered live, text it into the phone number at the bottom of the screen. All right, so let's see what we've been catching this past week. This past week, inshore black drum have been coming back and making quite a comeback. We've been seeing quite a few black drum around the flats, oyster bars, mangrove shorelines, these smaller schoolie-sized black drum. One of my buddies, Josh, not this Josh, another Josh, was out there fishing and catching some big black drum around the bridges we're going to show you here in a minute. Pompano bite going pretty well, and we're catching some pompano around, but it's spotty, not super thick, not super crazy, but it's getting to be better and better. There's Josh with a nice pompano, and here's those big black drum I was telling you about. It's definitely some nice bridge monsters caught this past week. Half a crab on some of those Bay Area bridges is a good idea to find and hunt after some of these big black drum. Also, some inshore gag grouper action, which is pretty cool to see, always fun. Hogfish snuck into the inshore report. We're going to have more on that once we get near shore. Big ladyfish, some redfish action has been going pretty well. It's definitely, I would say, a little bit more difficult on the redfish. They've spread out a little bit. Some areas you're finding them, but they're a little bit more finicky. You are able to find some concentrations of them, but they're more spread out than they were. As that water temperature starts to climb, they get a little bit more finicky, but we're going to start seeing schools of redfish and hopefully more cooperative redfish here soon. So as you can see, the redfish bite, soft plastics working well. On the beach, a lot of these bonnethead sharks, black-tip sharks. Sheep's head have been going well this past week. We saw a lot of big sheep's head actually on our 5-hour half-day trip, fishing out there one day. It was a little shallow fishing. We were fishing around maybe 20 to 25 feet. It was a little bumpy, and we stayed a little closer in a little bit murky water on some of those near-shore, hard-bottom areas, and we got into a bunch of sheep's head like the one this guy's holding in his hand, the big dogs. Like, I'm talking 8 to 12 of them on a couple half-day trips in a row, which is pretty cool. But inshore, you can find those nice sheep's head. Up in the bay, mouth of the creeks, rivers, bayous, we're seeing some of those big snook, some of the schoolie-sized fish starting to come out a little bit more, but still staying pretty far back in the upper bay and back bay waters. Some good trout action. The big trout have been active. Seeing some nice trout out there on the beaches, on the flats, around the mangroves. Definitely a steady trout bite as of late. So the cold-tolerant species still doing well with the trout, redfish, and sheep's head. But snook are starting. It's early, but they're starting to creep around, and we should see more and more as that water temperature continues to come up. Let's get into the near shore side of things and show you guys what we've been catching out there near shore a little deeper. And it's been pretty good. The weather's been a little tricky, so you have to kind of pick your days. But if you're able to get a good weather window, the bite has been cooperative. Lots of the gray snapper on the half day. Couple of these hogfish on the half day. 10-hour trip, definitely seeing more of the hogfish action. Even seeing a couple of these nice mangrove snapper on our 10-hour trips. The nearshore private charters on the Flying Hub 2 catching a bunch of nice mangroves. 39-hour trip, of course, crushing the mangroves. Some nice red grouper, big hogfish from the half-day fishing trip here. And then the 12-hour night trip did really well. Caught a lot of big mangroves. I wouldn't say really well. It was a steady bite. Those who knew what they were doing, again, did very, very well. One guy, Ken Martin, who fishes with us quite a bit, he caught 2 really big mangroves. One was 8.5 pounds. One was 8.9 pounds. Crazy big mangrove snapper. Probably about 120 or so total caught on this recent 12-hour night trip. So it was pretty stellar to see a good steady bite. And those who really dialed into those mangroves crushed them for sure. Red grouper on the last 39-hour trip was pretty darn steady. And we're excited to get out there this weekend and do some more red grouper hunting. Hopefully you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel. We've been doing some new YouTube content and more YouTube content. And one of the new things we've launched is this like dockside chat thing. And we've done 2 so far in the past week. We've got some more hopefully coming up soon. But essentially, it's the captains, the crew hanging out, and we are just shooting the breeze about what's going on the offshore side of things, nearshore and offshore side of things. So you can see here when that 39-hour trip came back, I talked to Captain Will, Captain Brian, Super J. The other day it was me, Captain Garrett, Captain Pete, Milos, and the galley. So we've got a bunch of new YouTube content, so don't miss out on that. And we talked in depth on this most recent dockside chat from the 39-hour trip return, in depth about that 39-hour trip, the red grouper that we're seeing now, how we're targeting them, what's working well, all that good stuff. So definitely make sure you're subscribed on YouTube and check out some of those new YouTube videos we've launched. They're a little long, so I don't want to show them now during the show because we got a lot to get to tonight. Plus, we want to make sure we have plenty of time for your questions. But we showed you what we're catching. Now let's get into the weather and show you guys what's going on with the weather. We're going to go to hubbardsmarina.com. We're going to click fishing trips. We're going to hit weather links. On our weather links page here, we're going to start in the 5 and 10 hour wind finder forecast area. And you can see pretty clearly we've got a nice little weather window here mid work week. We're on the backside of a full moon. And we're working our way to a last quarter moon coming up pretty much a week from today. Next weekend, Saturday, is the last quarter moon. So some good tidal movement the first part of the week. It's going to slow down around Wednesday and then be a little bit more slower tides as we move into probably middle of the week next week. So about 9 days from now, those tides should pick up as we approach the new moon. But the best fishing day coming up is going to be Wednesday. Wednesday coming up looks like our best fishing day as far as weather is concerned, fish bite is concerned, all that good stuff. Tomorrow is going to be just downright nautical. It's going to shift out of the north and be blowing 30 most of the day, and 6.5 foot at the Egmont buoy, which is not good. That's pretty rough. That's like borderline, that's like Cat 1 hurricane type of weather. We see that kind of action on our buoy. So pretty nautical tomorrow. Tuesday, it's calming down really fast. So maybe, hopefully, we'll be able to get out there Tuesday. But I would guess, I would bet that fishing's going to be tough. So if we're able to get out there Tuesday, the 5 and 10 hour trips probably are going to struggle. It's going to be a little bit murky and stirred up behind the cold front. But Wednesday, it's going to be calmed down. Water's going to be warming up. Sun's going to be out. Wednesday's looking really, really right. Thursday, I think we're going to be able to make everything happen, and the wind's going to be picking up Thursday night. So the bite should hopefully be pretty darn good. So I think Wednesday looks good, great. Thursday looks good, potentially great. And Tuesday might be okay. Then Friday, probably going to be a tough day. Saturday, it starts to calm down for us nicely. And then Sunday, Monday, looking really good right now, too. So I would say Wednesday, Sunday, Monday look like your best days as of now, but things can change. So stay tuned to our weather forecasts and our daily videos, and we'll keep you up to date with what's going on weather-wise. But the big story is we are, I would say, officially in spring. In Florida, we get into this time of year where the cold fronts start to slow down a little bit. They don't make it quite as far south. They don't hang around quite as much. That north wind doesn't hang around as long. It's not blowing out of the north for 2 days. It might blow out of the north for 12 hours. We don't see these big temperature drops. We don't see the big barometer drop and stay low for a while. So it's kind of these littler cold fronts have a little less impact. But what we do see is when the cold fronts make it down this time of year, we see these stronger pressure gradients fighting over the area, so we get more wind. So with the cold fronts in January, you get a cold front and it would blow for like a day or 2 or 3, and it'd be done. It'd be a little bit of blowing out of the west, then it would switch out of the north, and you'd be done. With these cold fronts this time of year, they're smaller, weaker fronts, but you get these really strong south winds ahead of the fronts. That's caused by these pressure gradients. That's very common March and sometimes into April. That's why we get these really windy spring months here in Florida, because of these pressure gradients and the difference in temperatures from the Gulf to the bay to the land. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how this plays out. Obviously, we saw the really strong south wind yesterday. Today, we're getting that cold front basically right now, and then it's going to switch out of the north tomorrow. But it won't blow out of the north very long, and then it's going to calm down pretty quickly. So hopefully we settle into this pattern and the cold fronts continue to get weaker. We continue to see less of them. Maybe they spread out a little bit, which should all hopefully help our fishing ability and improve our ability to access the fish. Speaking of access, we've added a brand new trip. Wednesday, we've added a new 10-hour all-day trip. This 10-hour all-day trip was just built into the schedule, so this trip should have tons of availability on it. That is Wednesday, 7 to 5, 10-hour all day. Normally, they're only Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. But because the weather looks so great Wednesday, and because Tuesday and Thursday are already a little popular, and potentially we're going to have to cancel Tuesday, maybe, I went ahead and added a new Wednesday 10-hour all-day trip. So that's exciting. Also exciting news. We've been talking about how we wanted to do an in-person event, a way for you to come join us in person and do a fishing conversation. And we've done it. We've scheduled it. Tuesday night, April 15th. Tuesday, April 15th from 7 to 9 p.m. We have an Orange County Choppers Roadhouse Real Animals fishing conversation. Myself and Captain Mike Anderson will both be there. And with the two of us there, you can ask inshore fishing questions, nearshore and offshore fishing questions, fishing regulation questions, whatever you want. And we should be able to hopefully field those questions pretty well for you. So definitely mark your calendars and join us. It's free to join. It's free to park. You can come hang out. It's a good time. We're going to have free stuff to give away, some Hubbard's Marina swag, some Real Animals swag, some Ingle Cooler stuff. Normally, Mike brings some Bull Bay rods to give away. So it's going to be a good time. Again, that's Tuesday night, April 15th, 7 to 9 p.m. So hopefully we'll see you there for that event. Also, people have been asking about the Gulf Council. We talked last weekend during the show that the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council, remember, it was named by an act of Congress, so yes, it is still the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council that manages the fishery in Gulf of America. Super confusing, yes, I know, but they'll fix it soon. So we just shortened it to Gulf Council to make it easy. The Gulf Council has a seat becoming available in August. So they asked people to apply for that seat, and I applied for the seat. A lot of you folks, our Hubbard's family, sent recommendation letters to the governor's appointment office, and unfortunately, the governor's appointment office did not select any professional fishermen to the list. One person from CCA Florida Star, our good friend and Hall of Fame angler Lisa Fitzgerald is on the list, but she's an inshore red fisherman, so not quite sure why governor's office felt like she was a good candidate to be a part of our federal management system, but whatever. Above my pay grade, I guess. And then there was a lawyer, there was a yacht salesman, and then there was a very, very qualified scientist. So hopefully the scientist makes it, because the lawyer doesn't make any sense. The yacht salesman definitely doesn't make any sense. And the inshore red fisherman, while she's a great person and Hall of Fame angler, I think it makes more sense for her to continue with what she does so well, which is the CCA Florida Star Tournament and all those redfish releases and the tagged redfish stuff. So she's got enough on her plate. So hopefully we'll see the scientists get in, but it's kind of comical. There was at least 3 different professional fishermen on that list, and me, and none of us got on there, which was kind of funny, a little political, I guess, but whatever. I digress. Long story short, I didn't get the council seat, or I didn't even get an opportunity to get to the next level, which is the Commerce Office. So there is an AP meeting tomorrow, our Refish AP meeting, which is an advisory panel. So it's a group of stakeholders, commercial, private, recreational, federal for-hire, anglers, all joining together, and we go over some agenda topic items for the upcoming Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council meeting, managing the waters of the Gulf of America. And we're going to be talking about the red grouper stock assessment, which you guys should all know by now. The red grouper stock assessment's looking really good. And hopefully you guys caught, pun intended, our radio show yesterday morning. If you didn't catch the radio show yesterday morning, it was a really good episode. I had Captain Ed Walker, who is a Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council member, and Captain Steve Pappin, who's one of our Refish AP members, and data collection AP members. And both of them were in studio with me, and we were talking a lot about gag grouper, red grouper, current fishery management issues. It was a really interesting radio show. So if you missed it, you can always go back on our Facebook page and rewatch it. It wasn't up on our YouTube channel. It's on the Real Animals YouTube channel, but it is on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page. So if you scroll back to Saturday morning's posts on our Hubbard's Marina Facebook page and also the Captain Dylan Hubbard Facebook page, you'll find that live video. And it was pretty cool. It was a good conversation. We did talk about the potential idea of maybe editing the gag grouper bag limit, which has been floated out there. So we've talked a lot about the gag grouper, right? The gag grouper season 2024 was 15 days. Our catch limit was around 170,000 pounds in state refish survey numbers. This was the first time they used state refish numbers to monitor the catch and also to measure the catch instead of using the federal data, the MRIP data. MRIP said we had like 1 million pounds of gags caught. The state refish survey said we had only 270,000 pounds of gags caught, which is a huge discrepancy. But 270,000 pounds of gags is a lot more than the 170,000 pounds we were supposed to catch. So there's an overage of about 100,000 pounds from last year, which gets paid back this year because gags are considered overfished. So because of that, our quota that was supposed to be like almost 400,000 pounds, so we'd get like hopefully a 35 day season in 2025 starting September 1st. Instead of a 30 or 35 day season starting September 1st, we're going to probably get like a 6 to 10 day gag grouper season. And the reason why is because of that payback. Our quota was supposed to be almost 400,000 pounds, but now it's going to be like 210,000 pounds. And if the quota is 210,000 pounds this year, and it was 270,000 pounds were caught last year in 15 days, you know they're going to make the season shorter than 15 days. So we know the season's going to get shorter because they want to try to eliminate the overage. If we don't have an overage this year, the 2026 season of gag grouper fishing should be like 40 or 45 days. So we want to be able to realize these catch limit increases, but in order to do that, we have to prevent overages. So long story short, one of the ideas being discussed is potentially evaluating the possibility of cutting the bag limit just for 2025, just a very short period, a 50% reduction in bag limit. So from going to 2 fish to 1 fish. So you'd only be allowed 1 gag. The season would only be 6, 8, 10 days long. But hopefully that going from 2 fish to 1 fish should hopefully prevent an overage. And if no overage occurs, the idea is we get a much longer season in 2026 with 2 fish. So we want to keep the 2 fish bag limit. We want the longest season possible. So there's some ideas floating around on how we potentially make some changes in the short term to realize that longer season. So that was discussed, among other things, on that radio show. So definitely check it out. Captain Ed Walker, Captain Steve Pappin were good guests. You don't want to miss our Saturday morning shows. We do those every Saturday morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. It's a good time for sure. All right, so another announcement we have is Visit St. Pete-Clearwater voting we wanted to mention real quick. If you go to hubbardsmarina.com, right on the top of our website, there's this green banner. If you're watching on Instagram or TikTok, you can't see it because the top of the screen's cut off. But if you go to our website, you'll see it. There's a little green and yellow banner at the top that says Vote for Hubbard's Marina for the best of St. Pete Clearwater. Click it. Click it. It'll take you to the voting page. There's a bunch of different categories like best beach, best waterfront restaurant, but the most important category is best boat experience. Make sure you vote Hubbard's Marina Fishing. Really important. But you can also write in nominees. So like best water activity, we're writing in Hubbard's Marina Dolphin Tours. What's up, Josh?
I was just going to say scroll down if you click on it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I clicked on the wrong one. So you can click on write in nominee, and then you can write in your own nominee. So we're writing in for best water activity, Hubbard's Marina Dolphin Tours. And then for like best waterfront restaurant, we're writing in Friendly Fisherman Seafood Restaurant and things like that. So definitely make sure you vote and make your votes count. You can vote daily between now and March 28th. So you got some time to catch up if you haven't been voting. But real important, best boat experience, we get Hubbard's Marina Fishing up there. Hopefully we're going to be nominated for the USA Today Best Charter Boat in the Country again. And I would think that voting should start sometime the end of March. So we have the Visit St. Pete Clearwater. You got to vote every day between now and the end of March. And then hopefully at the end of March, we'll be nominated for the best charter boat in the country for the 4th year in a row. And we want to win for the 4th year in a row. So we're definitely going to need your help on that too. So stay tuned. We've got our good buddy, Capt Mike Anderson, on the line. What's going on, bud?
I'm good, Hammer. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Just talking about our awesome radio show where we were discussing gag grouper, and I was glad you weren't there. I think the vein would have been popping. You would have been pretty worked up.
I heard that.
Yes.
I heard that from some people, actually. So.
They were like, you're gone and Dylan's ruining your show.
No, not ruining, just, keeping things spiritual. So it's all good.
Yeah, man.
It's all good. You always do a good job. I never have to worry about you, brother.
Well, we missed you, and definitely looking forward to our in-person event where we get to hang out together April 15th from 7 to 9 p.m. at OCC Roadhouse. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it will be. Real Animals Fishing Conversations, getting those rocking and rolling in conjunction with you. It'll be a good time, and hopefully we'll be able to teach some people some stuff and enjoy some good food. And
heck yeah.
Maybe a nice cold beer. So,
yes,
yeah,
sir.
it's a really, really neat place. Our good friend Keith Overton's the owner out there, and we're pretty excited to be partnered up with him and see if we can't bring some of our fishing joy to the listening public.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to it for sure. How has the Inshore bite been on the Inshore side of things this past week? I know the mackerel got to be picking up.
I was actually pretty impressed with the redfish bite.
Really?
We had a really good redfish bite this week.
Huh.
I was kind of impressed, and I think what happened was, with those big low tides we had in conjunction with that full moon, I think that a lot of the fish dumped back into the creeks. I think they were starting to poke their noses out, and them big negative low tides dumped a lot of those fish back into deeper water, and it made them a little easier to locate, actually.
Huh.
So, it was pretty good, and the bait was solid. So, snook bites picking up. We still caught, plenty of good trout. So it's good, and plenty of mackerel too. Like you said, I didn't find a crazy mackerel bite, but we had consistent mackerel mixed in with our trout bite. So, that's a good sign. I think as that bait gets up on the flat, that'll just continue to improve. So it was a good week. I'm interested. This week looks so up in the air with this weather. I'm like
a little turbulent.
Yeah. I got a full week of trips here, and I don't know whether I'm coming or going here.
Wednesday looks good. You got that going for you. Thursday morning.
There we go. Yeah, that's great.
Tuesday afternoon.
I've got 30 boats fishing on Thursday and 40 boats fishing on Friday. So
good luck.
Lucky me. Yeah. Lucky me. And I'm supposed to go offshore Wednesday. We're supposed to be filming our Captain Billy Noble's memorial show for season 19 of Real Animals here. So
Wednesday looks good for offshore, so that'll hopefully hold out for you. That'll be fun.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. I was actually running the old 32 contender today, just getting her dialed in. So
your phone broken? It must not be because you're talking to us right now. I feel like that was like an invite. Like, come help me shake down this new boat.
Well, we didn't do a whole lot of shaking down with the wind that was out there today. But, thank God it was already shook down. I was just getting familiar with it. So
I got you.
But,
are you filming on that?
Yeah, we're filming on the 32 this week.
Nice.
Yeah, Captain Glenn Taylor and I are going to go do the Billy Nobles thing and try to make old Captain Billy proud.
Get some tuna and some mangroves.
Hey, whatever Glenn says. When I get there in the morning, I'll be rigged up to do a bunch of different stuff and whatever. I know the hogfish bite's been good, so I'm not sure what we'll do, but the
blackfins started to show up. The boys from Don's Dock, Captain Steve Pappin was on our show Saturday while you were out, and he was talking Mike Hollinsworth, which is a captain that works with Steve, and one of the other guys were fishing southwest a little bit, and they got into the blackfins, that maybe 25 to 40 mile range to the southwest, finding those blackfin tuna, some bait out there. So it's about to pop off. It's almost there. We're on the precipice, the doorstep of that time of year. I'm excited.
Do you think this weather going to slow it down with the weather coming?
It's not a strong front. It's only going to blow out of the north for like 12 hours. It's not going to. Not seeing a big dip. It did dip down overall. Like water temperatures at Egmont were in the upper 60s. Offshore they were like 71. Both of those came down quite a bit. It was mid 65 and at the Egmont buoy and like 68 offshore. So both of those temperatures came down about 3 to 4 degrees. But I think they're creeping back up slowly, and hopefully we get there because I'm excited. Spring is always fun, that transition period.
I agree. I'm anxious to see it. Like I said, lots of good reports from a lot of captains last week. We did good on my charters, and then a lot of the guys I talked to with, fishing, Terracea and some on the South Shore and down around Fort DeSoto and up around Pinellas Point. There was a lot of really good fishing going on. So should be interesting to see if this continues, going to dirty things up a little bit with this wind and the rain we had tonight, but hopefully it won't slow us down much. Yeah,
it wasn't too much rain. It was a lot of rain really fast, but it's not like it hung around a while. It dried up quick. The ground needed it.
Yeah. Yeah, it just went through over here by us. So,
yeah.
It should be, but some of those rains, like you said, we need them.
Yeah.
So some of that's a good thing for sure.
My truck needed it. It was so windy the last 2 days. Gulf Boulevard was like a Wild West movie. Like there was just like sand tornadoes and like tumbleweeds of seagrass. It was my truck. When I walked out to the truck today, I just got it all nice and clean Wednesday, and today it was literally you could have written your name in the windows in the black tint because there was just so much sand caked to it. So
that's crazy.
When it poured down rain, I went riding around and got the underside nice and washed off so it wasn't so salty and sandy.
There you go.
Dried out the neighborhood streets for everybody. So You're welcome.
All right. Well, I may reach out to you this week because, like I said, I got lots of action going on late this week with big tournaments. So
yes, sir.
I may be checking in with my weather guy to see what we look like. So
I'll be here for you, buddy. Have a good one, and we'll see you soon. And April 15th, 7 to 9 p.m. We'll see you there at OCC Roadhouse.
Can't wait, my brother. Talk soon. Thanks, sir. Man.
Bye.
See you.
Looking forward to that for sure. In-person event, Mike and I together, it's always a good time. We have a good time together, so hopefully that translates well to the crowd. I know I'm going to have a good time. Hopefully you will be too, and hopefully you'll join us. All right, so we've talked about what we're catching. We've talked about the weather. We're talking about what we've expected. We've made some announcements. We talked to Captain Mike. Now it's time to get into your questions and answer your questions live during the show. Remember, if you've got a question, text it in to the phone number at the bottom of the screen. And OCC Roadhouse is in Pinellas County. It's like central Pinellas County. It's on 49th Street in like Almerton area-ish, maybe a little north of Almerton. But essentially, it's like dead center, central Pinellas County, super easy to get to, right off the interstate. So even if you're in Tampa, it's like, I think, 10 minutes from the Tampa airport. So it's easy to get to if you're from Tampa, as long as you're like more western Tampa. If you're East Tampa, might be a little bit more tricky to get to, but it is not bad at all. Josh has it pulled up here. So there's the pin, basically as central Pinellas as you can get. So it is north of Almerton. It's 49th Street and 102nd-ish, 110th. So not bad. It's right by Quaker Steak and Lube on 49th Street. So real easy to get to. Super central Pinellas County. And pretty much as close to everyone as we could possibly get. Plus, it's a big venue. It'll be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's do our first giveaway of the night. And then we're going to get into some questions. Let's give away our 5-hour half day for two. One lucky winner, two guests, 5-hour half day. Winner is John Payne. Congratulations, John Payne. You got 5 minutes or less to text us your home address. So remember, you have to watch the whole show live. You have to comment once on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page. Then, if your name is picked and announced like John Payne's was just then, you've got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address. That's how you enter. That's how you win. That's how you claim your free trips. We're giving away $1,500 in free trips every Sunday night. So tune in every Sunday night. All right, first question. Happy birthday, Mark Snow. It is his 50th birthday. For those who are unaware, Mark Snow is our official, unofficial sound guy who's not actually here. He's from Canada, but he listens in every Sunday night for like ever. And he always helps us sound better and get dialed in. So happy birthday, Mark Snow. We appreciate all your help keeping us sounding good and staying on top of Josh. As the hogfish scatter towards late April and into early May, what can we hope to expect on those 10-hour trips? So what we're going to do is on the then keep that open because the second part of that question is gold. What we will do is as water temperatures creep up, the hogfish spread out. They get a little bit trickier to target. We'll start seeing less of them. So then it gets really, really frustrating to stay in that 40, 50-foot area and target those hogfish because we're just not seeing as many of them. We catch a bunch of the gray snapper or white grunts. So once it starts getting like that, what we do is we fish a little deeper. We start to push out there 70, 80, 90 foot. You still have a shot at hogfish. We still catch hogfish. We just see less of them. And then we start to see more of the lane snapper, and you start to get a better chance for those red groupers. So typically in the summer months on our 10-hour trips, warmer months, we are fishing deeper, 70, 80, 90, maybe even up to 100 foot. We're getting more of those lane snapper, better chance for the mangroves, better chance for the red grouper. And then if we go out there deep, and the bite's a little slow or tough, then we'll get shallower through the day until we find the fish biting. So that's typically what we do on the 10-hour trips once the hogfish bite kind of slows down. Second part of their question was, when will the Johns Pass jetty walkway be rebuilt? The north jetty of Johns Pass had a beautiful walkway on it that you could fish from. It was great. The very, very bitter end of it had some damage from the storms, and our super awesome, super brilliant, and not hardworking, I'm being facetious and very sarcastic, city manager Robin Gomez in Madeira Beach took it upon himself, without talking to the mayor, the city council, or the public, to order the destruction of the jetty. And then when he got called out on it, and we started a big campaign to fix his mistake and make them clean it up so we could fish from it again, he got all angry and started sending emails to everybody who was emailing the city complaining about its destruction. Oh, don't worry, it'll be 90 days. It's just under construction. Well, that was in like frickin' December, bro. So it's now March. It's been 90 days, and there's been zero movement, and zero communication, and zero updates, and zero progress. As I said, he's full of you know what. And it's sad to see Madeira Beach is not even getting state appropriations filed. The city of Madeira Beach has 0 state appropriations filed because they continue to allow this person, Robin Gomez, to do nothing. He's not doing his job, and he didn't answer the phone for the state representative who was filing the appropriations. And she had very simple questions asking him about sand updates and this dredging project. She got the money in September of 22 for this dredge project, and it still hasn't even started yet. The permits were only applied for in July of 2024 after the city manager got caught lying, saying, oh, we're waiting for Army Corps. Well, in reality, Army Corps finally answered and said, we don't know what you're talking about. They haven't even applied for the permit with us. Well, magically, like 3 weeks later, Robin Gomez finally did his job and applied for the permit. And then there's no updates, no information, and he won't answer the phone for anybody. So this the state representative said, I'm not filing your city's appropriation. So now the city has no jetty walkway, has no appropriations, has no dredging projects, has all these problems. Don't get me started on the swim buoy debacle. Just countless outright failures by Robin Gomez. And the city is suffering. And for some reason, the city commission and the city's mayor is just letting it happen. And it's starting to get really frustrating. But I digress. So no, the Johns Pass walkway on the North Jetty, I have 0 faith it will ever get rebuilt while Robin Gomez is not doing the job of city manager. It's really frustrating. So you should contact the city and ask them, hey, you told us 90 days. Where's our 90-day update? That would be pretty funny to see what he emails you back. Because I know a lot of you guys watching emailed, and I know a lot of you guys got that email where he was just emailing everybody back, oh, it'll be 90 days. Nope. All right. Looking to buy a conventional reel to do trips on your fishing boats. We'll be fishing like this a few times a year. How big of a reel do I need? So it depends on the trip. If you're fishing like a 10-hour trip, a 5-hour trip, a 5-hour, we do a lot of spinning rod fishing, like 4,000 or 5,000 series spinning rod. 10-hour trip, we fish with that spinning rod a lot on the 10-hour all-day trip, like 4,000 or 5,000 series spinning reel. Conventional rod on a 10-hour is a good idea, especially in the summertime as we're fishing deeper, getting a better chance for those red grouper. Like a 30 to 35 pound drag conventional reel is a good idea for the 10-hour. 12-hour extreme, you want something with 40, 45 pounds of drag. 12-hour night, maybe 35 pounds of drag. So you're asking what size do I need, 12, 16, or 30? All the new reels nowadays, they all have different sizes. You used to be able to say, bring a 4/0 reel, and everybody knew what that meant. But nowadays, you can't really do that. So I switched to drag ratings. If your reel's rated for 30, 35 pounds of drag, it's pretty good all around near shore. If it's 35, 40 pounds of drag, it's pretty good even offshore. If it's 40 to 45 pounds of drag or more, it's big fish fishing offshore ready. It's kind of what you want to go for. So if you want something that's going to do a little bit of everything well, look for a reel with like 35 to 40 pounds of drag. Then you'll be able to do a 10-hour trip. You'll be able to do a 12-hour night, 12-hour extreme, even a 39-hour trip with that reel. All right, next question. What do we got? Why don't they open red snapper season earlier instead of letting it go later in season? Because it's longer into hurricane season, you can't fish. Great question. Already being worked on and will probably change next year. I haven't talked about it because I don't want to confuse people. It's really hard already. I can't tell you how many times a day I answer the question, when does red snapper season open? It's been opening June 1st forever. Literally forever. As long as I can remember, it's been June 1st. But people still ask that question, so I don't want to confuse people anymore. But 2026 red snapper season start date will not be June 1st. It looks like there's a 98% chance that come 2026, it will be an earlier start date. There's a lot of contention around what that start date will be. So I don't know exactly what the start date will be, but 2025, $1 million guaranteed bet, June 1st, 100%. 2026 is going to change. So, is it possible to get a family grand slam like grouper or snapper? Like all the snap? No, absolutely no way. There is a ton of grouper species and a ton of snapper species. You could get like the popular family combo, like a gag grouper, red grouper, scamp grouper, strawberry grouper. You could get that family grouper slam on like a 39-hour trip maybe. And you could get like the popular snapper slam, like mangrove, yellowtail. I'd throw in mutton nowadays, vermilion snapper. You could get the popular species, but if you wanted like all the grouper family, no shot. There's so many out there. One of the really cool grouper species we catch super rarely is a yellowfin grouper, also called a fireback grouper. Really, really cool, crazy looking fish. We don't see it that often. Black grouper is another one. What's some other different ones? Scamp grouper we see pretty commonly nowadays. Some of the rockhind families. We have the strawberry grouper, which is like a bucket that we throw red hind, rock hind, Graysbees, multiple different kinds of hinds or grouper into the same bucket. We call them all strawberry grouper, but really it's a couple different species. Yeah, that's a good picture. Is that a picture? Yeah. All right, so here is a fireback grouper. Pretty cool looking fish. Wild looking fish. So we caught one of these recently on a 39-hour trip, and they called me on the sat phone. They're like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Bro, can't see the photo over the sat phone, so you're gonna have to try to explain it to me." And as soon as they started explaining it, I knew what it was. But they're really cool looking fish. We see them more commonly in the northern Gulf around the rigs, and they see them pretty commonly around the Keys in the Bahamas. But we do have them off of central West Florida, and we do catch them quite a bit. Also, unique snapper species, schoolmaster, dog snapper, both two different kinds of snapper species we do catch occasionally around here. Pretty cool. Are you allowing electric reels with a battery on the rod on an overnight trip? We allow electric reels, but we don't recommend them because it's a lot of times an electric reel is bigger, bulkier. You've got a cord with you. It's harder to feel a bite. It doesn't end up going well for the person using it. Generally, they cause a lot of problems because you can't feel the bite as well. There's no substitute for being one with the fish. And actively fishing. We talked about that a lot last week on the show, actively fishing and feeling the bite and staying in contact with the bottom. And you need a high-end rod with a nice light setup, light-sensitive setup. And electric reels are not conducive to that. So generally, people who bring electrics really struggle to catch as many fish as other people. And we do allow them because some people, like, I know one guy fishes with us. He's got a bad shoulder, so he brings an electric, and he does pretty good. I know some other folks that have like a hurt elbow or hurt hand, or maybe they just had surgery, so they need electrics. And it's not to say you can't use one, but if you're going to use an electric, I would invest in a smaller reel, and I would definitely use one of like the fanny pack style lighter batteries. So that way you're a little bit more stealthy, agile, lighter, more sensitive. That's going to be your trick. All right. Just getting into, no worries. My friend and I are going on a 39-hour trip. How many yards and how many pounds test braid should we have in our conventional reels? I wouldn't bring 8,000 series spinning reels. Definitely leave those at home because when you're bottom fishing, you don't want to use a spinning reel. When you're bottom fishing offshore, deeper water, bigger fish, put away the spinning reels because spinning reels have higher gear ratios, which means they have lower torque. Conventional reels have lower gear ratios, which means they have higher torque and they have better strength to get those bigger fish up off the bottom. If you're using an 8,000 series spinning reel, someone's always get in the conversation. Well, this reel is $900 and it's got 58 pounds of drag. I don't care. It doesn't matter if you're a professional strongman. Your body mechanics and physics dictate a spinning reel is not going to work as well as a conventional reel. A $1,800 top of the line spinning reel will be outperformed by a $200 affordable Walmart combo conventional reel because of physics. When you're using a conventional reel, you're using your whole body. You're using both arms. You're fighting the fish. You're holding the reel or the rod underneath your right arm. You've got your left hand in front of the reel. And when you lift up, you're lifting by leaning back. You're using multiple muscle systems and body kinetics to put pressure and exert force on that rod and thus that fish. If you're using a spinning reel, you're basically using your front delt and your bicep and a little forearm to fight that fish. And it doesn't matter how big your front delt, bicep, and forearm is, you're not going to be able to put enough kinetic force on that fish to dog him up off the bottom. Plus, your reel is not going to have the gear ratio, power, torque to horse that fish up off the bottom. So really, really important. If you're bottom fishing with dead bait, live bait, you want to use a conventional reel. When you're beyond 100 foot, put away the spinning reels. When you're inside 100 foot, spinning reels are a pretty good idea with live shrimp. It's a lot of fun to fish for mangroves, hogfish, all that stuff. Inside 100 foot. When you're outside 100 foot, we bring spinning rods like the 8,000 series spinning reel would be good for flatline fishing. Maybe some slow pitch jig fishing if you want to use a spinning reel for that. Maybe pitch rods, that kind of thing, but not bottom fishing with dead bait or live bait. All right. Let's see. Let's do our next giveaway. We got to give away our 10-hour all day. This is a 10-hour all day. 2 guests, 1 lucky winner, 2 guests on a 10-hour all day. Let's find out who our lucky winner is. Candace Jaramello. Congratulations, Candace from Riverview. You got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address so we can mail you out that free trip. All right. Next question. Any kingfish reports? No. Nothing yet. No reports on the kingfish. We are seeing mackerel. We are catching some mackerel. We caught some mackerel dropping down to the bottom on a half-day trip, so you never know. Mackerel are starting to show up, so kingfish should be soon. Generally, it's on the moon phases, so this full moon didn't bring us the kingfish. New moon's about a week and a half, no, about 2 weeks out. So 10, 12, 14 days, perhaps we'll start to see some kingfish. When gags close, will you specifically target amberjack in September, later September and October, going to shipwrecks, etc.? Yes and no. So September 1st, gags open, and they'll be open for like 6 to 10 days, I think. That'll be finalized maybe in April, definitely in June. We know amberjack will be open September and October. We know red snapper will open June 1st and be open until sometime in September, I would guess. We know red groupers open January 1st and should close sometime mid to late May. And we know triggerfish are open all year except for January, February, June, and July. So come that first week in September, everything virtually should be open except for red grouper, that first week and a half of September. Then after gags close, we'll still have red snapper open. Scamp, mangroves, yellowtails, muttons, all those different species too. But amberjack will be open. We won't spend a whole 39-hour trip hunting amberjack. But what we will do, once we're not solely focused on the gags, because one gag season is open, it is so short, we're going to be really solely focused on the gags. Once they close, then what we would probably do on a 39-hour trip is have 1, 2, maybe 3 spots during the day where we're going to look for some amberjack. So, yes, you will have a chance for amberjack. Yes, we will target them, but we won't spend our whole trip going from wreck to wreck to wreck trying to look for amberjack because, trust me, it can be boring. Because there's a lot of times it's a longer run between them, too, and a lot of area to cover. And a lot of times you get to a wreck if a boat was just... if a boat was just there, the amberjack are spread out and they're not going to bite. Or what's really frustrating is you can go to a wreck and a dive boat can be sitting on it, and then you can't fish it because there's already divers in the water. And then you wait for the divers to leave and you go fish it, and they shot a bunch of amberjack, and all the amberjack are spread out and leader shy. So that can be frustrating. So a lot of times we pick an area that has a wreck or 2 or 3 around it, and we fish that area, and we'll pop over the wreck sundown, sunrise, midday-ish when we see it's available and doesn't have a boat on it. All right, next question. What do we got? Are there any updates on the Fort DeSoto boat ramp? No. So the county is in charge of the Fort DeSoto boat ramp, War Veterans Memorial, and a lot of these ramps are not fully functional. All the docks are messed up. A lot of people are frustrated, and they're not going to get fixed anytime soon. The problem is the county is walking through the same steps all these homeowners are. The county has to go through FEMA and walk through the FEMA processes because the county doesn't want to come out of the general fund. Basically, treat the county as a private individual. Your home gets destroyed in a hurricane. If you just come out of pocket and start fixing your home, and you don't go through the permitting process, you don't go through the insurance adjusters, you're not going to get any money back from the insurance company. You're not going to get any FEMA funding. You're not going to get any help, and they could potentially come back and tell you to tear it all down because you didn't have the permits right. So the county is having to walk through this same process, and it's very slow, and even more slow because it's government entities all talking together. And we all know how quick that happens. So, unfortunately, county boat ramps are going to be a while. Aaron Luke, appreciate those 500 stars, buddy. Jason Richmond again. Sherry Golf. Destiny Hetz. Don Shewitt with a big 800 stars. Appreciate you, buddy. Edward Nellis. Don Shewitt again. Edward Nellis again. Sherry Golf again. Robin Lawson. Rick Rogers. Scott Flynn. Chris Molina. Gary Camage. Appreciate all the stars, y'all. Since we first initially thanked everybody for the stars, we had a lot more sent. So wanted to take a second and thank them. All right, next question. Was speaking with an old salty fisherman a few months ago, and he says he uses crawfish to catch hogfish. Definitely have heard of that. People use rock shrimp a lot, which is essentially a saltwater crawfish. It works. Hogfish are wrasse. They're looking for crustaceans. So they're looking for shrimp. We've used sand fleas. We've used rock shrimp. We've used fiddler crabs. I've seen people use crawfish. Me personally, I would never do that. Sacrilegious. I would eat those. But I've seen it done. And it does work. The thing about using shrimp is shrimp will get you other fish too. Lanes will eat shrimp. Hogfish will eat shrimp. Mangroves will eat shrimp. Everything eats a shrimp, so it keeps action going. If you drop down a crawfish, a rock shrimp, a sand flea, you're generally gonna catch one of two things: a porgy or a hogfish. So it just gets a little slow and boring, and you could either catch them or you don't catch anything. You don't get a lot of bycatch essentially. So yes, it does work, but I don't know if you want to do that a lot because it can be boring. Are you dealing with cold bottom offshore for the long range trips? We haven't seen that too much in the areas we've been fishing, but a lot of times that's very, very sporadic and it happens in a certain depth range. Right now we're fishing a little shallower because of the 20 fathom closure, but that's about to end. And when that ends here in the next 2 weeks, we will be fishing deeper. And when we start fishing deeper, we can run into some of those areas. So we'll see. Are you coming back to Bartow Ford for a real animals fishing seminar sometime soon? We want to, yes. Bartow is going through a little bit of transition, so we haven't got a date lined up yet. But while we were waiting for Bartow Ford, which we're planning to go back to, we decided to do this Orange County Choppers Roadhouse one in Pinellas County. So now we'll have one in Pinellas. We'll have one in Bartow. So the idea that Mike and I discussed is basically 1 month we'll be in Pinellas, the next month we'll be in Bartow, and we'll switch back and forth. So if you live over in Bartow, every other month we'll come out there. If you live in Pinellas or Western Hillsborough, you'll be able to come out to OCC every other month and join us there. So the idea is we kind of touch both sides of the bay, give everybody a chance to come out and join us. My wife and I would like to, but me personally, driving to Bartow, good Lord, it's tough. It is tough. The last time I went to Bartow Ford for a fishing conversation, I left Hubbard's Marina at 3 p.m. and I was late getting to a 6 o'clock event. It took me 3 hours and 15 minutes to get from Hubbard's Marina to Bartow Ford. You know how long it took me to get home? An hour and 15. An hour and 15. It's crazy. Crazy. I think it was less than an hour. I want to say it was like around an hour to get home. Shouldn't take over 3 hours, but yeah. So it's really tough for people in Pinellas County to get to Bartow Ford. So that's why I like doing the Pinellas County and Bartow Ford one. So that's our plan. My wife and I would like to fish in Florida. What trip would you recommend that's more action-packed as far as numbers of fish we can eat for the time of year? 5-hour half day. Start with a 5-hour half day. If you don't fish in Florida a lot, you don't do saltwater fishing a lot, start with the 5-hour. Plus, if you're starting with someone like you're taking a kid out or your wife out and you want them to like it, you want them to have a good time, you want them to start to enjoy it so they do it with you more, it's always a good idea to start slow. It's like boiling the crab in the pot of water, right? If you throw a crab in boiling water, it starts freaking out. But if you put a live crab in a pot of water and bring it to a boil slowly, crab doesn't even freak out. He's just chilling because he gets used to it. Same thing with a young angler, a lady angler, a new guy. It doesn't matter. Your buddy from work, if you take him out and he's never been fishing before and you take him on his first 39-hour trip, it probably isn't going to go well. The first trip always has a really big learning curve, and sometimes that learning curve can smack you upside the head and they'll never get on the boat again. So it's always a good idea to start with the half day, get them started, get them acclimated, get up to a 10-hour trip, maybe try a couple of those, maybe do a 12-hour night trip, see how they handle it on the water at night, then maybe do a 12-hour extreme. You're out there deep, but you're home by dinner, you're able to sleep in your own bed, then jump to the 39-hour trip, you know. Start slowly, work your way up is always my suggestion. Plus, the 5-hour trip always has the most action. If you want to drop down a piece of squid and get a bite within a minute, half-day trip's it. I mean, generally, on normal days, on a 5-hour half-day, if you drop down and you're actively fishing, you're holding bottom, you're doing all the things right, within a minute or two, you're going to get a bite. And if you're getting good at it and you're listening and asking questions, you can catch a lot of fish on a 5-hour half-day. I joined Lane. I'm off this week for spring break. Is there a 39-hour trip this week, and is the weather favorable? Yes, yes, and yes. We have a 39-hour trip Friday, and the weather is looking pretty darn favorable. We did have a 39-hour trip Tuesday. Unfortunately, we had to cancel it. We had a really big group cancel out on us pretty last minute because the weather wasn't looking good, and they were flying in. And at the time, I couldn't guarantee and say, hey, we're going for sure, because a few days ago the weather looked questionable. So unfortunately they canceled out. We scrambled, tried to get enough people to go, and just couldn't do it. So we had to cancel our Tuesday 39-hour trip. But we have a super light load Friday. I think there's only like 26 people, 27 people. So plenty of room. Weather's looking good for it too. So hopefully you can join us. For the 10-hour fishing trip, do you target mahi-mahi? If so, once. The 10-hour, we do not target mahi-mahi. In our area, I would never, ever tell you, hey, we're going to go target mahi, because we can't. We just don't see that many of them. We do catch them quite a bit as a bycatch, and generally it's in the summer months. Generally it's deeper, but we do see them on the 10-hour. There's 10-hour trips where we catch 10, 15 mahi, a little chicken dolphin. But it is rare, and it's generally only in the summertime, only certain times when that current comes a little closer, we get these little temperature gradients. So, maybe. 39-hour trip targeting triggerfish, what would your terminal tackle be? We actually have a video coming out on our YouTube channel, all about triggerfish tips and tricks, where we go over a lot of that, but smaller hook, long, chewy piece of bait, bonita strip, squid strip, basically about 2 inches long, and then about a 1/4 inch tall and wide. Little strip. Get it flipping in the water there. They like a little chewy piece of bait, whether it's a bonita strip or a squid strip, and a smaller hook, 5-6/0 hook, lighter leader generally, 40, 50-pound leader. Are you close to the Tampa airport? Hubbard's Marina without traffic is about 25 to 30 minutes from the airport. Maybe 35 minutes from the airport. 40 minutes from the airport, I'm going to say. Final answer. 35 to 40 minutes from the airport. But it's not bad at all. Yes, we're close to the airport. We're closer to St. Pete-Clearwater Airport, about 30 minutes from that one. Without traffic. I want 2 sharks next trip. Are they plentiful in April? Big sharks are plentiful for April. Actually, in our most recent YouTube video, we talked about that specifically with Captain Brian. And he talked about how the biggest sharks are always caught March, April, May. The big dogs, the big tigers, the big hammers. This is the time of year we see the great whites. Like those rare times when we see a great white on our trips, it's this time of year. March, April, May, and into early June. Water's cool, and those big sharks are here. All right, next question. What do we got? That's it? We got them all? Heck yeah. Oh, we're out of time anyway, so good timing. All right, so we talked about the seasons. Reminder about tattoos. If you get a Hubbard's Marina tattoo, you get $1,000 in free trip fare. So if you want free fishing trips, $1,000 in free fishing trips, get a tattoo. It's right on our website. If you go to hubbardsmarina.com, you click info, you click Marina info, and then under Marina info, you can scroll down there to Hubbard's Marina tattoos. It'll bring you to the tattoo page. It'll tell you all about it, and it has my email. So you email us about it if you have questions. You send us your design proposal. We'll sign off on it, and we'll do everything via email. But Join the Hubbard's Marina family officially and get $1,000 in free trip fare. Lower leg, lower arm. Check out the website. It'll give you all the details. So, pretty cool option. Regulars Club is still open, still accepting members. If you want 50% off the half day and all day, 30% off the longer range trips, check out the Regulars Club. You get free birthday trips on your actual birthday. That's also on the website. Got a lot of stuff on the website, guys. You don't want to miss out, so check it out. Also, don't forget about the April 15th event. That, again, is going to be Orange County Chopper Roadhouse Real Animals Fishing Conversation. You can find it on our Facebook page, the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page, the Captain Dylan Hubbard Facebook page. That event is there, and Josh is dropping the link in the chat now. So join us for that event for sure, and help us spread the word on that event by clicking the event link Josh shared, and make sure you click going, interested, share the event, and invite your friends. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Check out those new videos that we launched, and hopefully we'll see you next week for another episode. Remember, we do these every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m., so hopefully you can tune in. And next week we'll update you on what happened at our Refish AP meeting as well. This next giveaway, our 39-hour giveaway for one lucky winner, is brought to you by our friends over at Innovative Pools and Spa. Remember, Innovative Pools and Spa brings you 35 years of experience building pools in the Tampa Bay area. They continue the legacy of their father's company, which was recognized as a top pool builder. Plus, they're continuing to raise the bar in pool construction, design, and features. They have an unparalleled passion for the industry, and they are really good people. Call them today, 727-788-1650, or visit them online at innovativepoolsandspa.net for an estimate and see why they are a top choice for families in our community. Plus, don't forget to check out our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle. Remember, this show is brought to you by our friends at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. Stop by, say hello, tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. If you bring a young angler, they get a free gift. So stop down to Gator Jim's Tackle for sure and tell them we said hello. Killer deals, literally insane deals. The owner there, it buys deals. He buys by the tractor load and passes the deals on to you. So definitely stop by, check out Gator Jim's Tackle. Tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. Also, remember, happy birthday, Mark Snow. Thanks for joining. Our supporters after show, Josh, is going to start when? 8:55, Josh says. So 8:55 supporters after show. We look forward to seeing all the supporters in there. Hopefully you as well. Hopefully you want to join us. And hopefully we'll see you next week for another episode. Every Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. Tune in. And thanks for being a part of our Hubbard's Marina family, y'all. So, let's find out who won the 39-hour fishing trip for one lucky winner. Winner is Fritz. That's awesome, man, from Sun City Center. Good dude. Fritz has been fishing with us. Him and his family have been fishing with us for a great number of years. So, good to see a local guy win it. So, congrats, Fritz. Who fishes a lot and is just a nice guy all around. Cool. Hopefully we'll see you next week for another episode. Thanks for tuning in and being a part of our Hubbard's Marina families. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. And don't forget to join us Tuesday, April 15th, 7 to 9 p.m. Supporters, we'll see you at 8:55 in the after show. And we'll see everyone next week right here. Don't forget, mark your calendars, set reminders, set alarms. Every Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. Subscribe on YouTube. Y'all have a good night.